Hi everybody, welcome back. So I'm just doing a quick update on this. I've been using this electric pump. This is the larger one by Silca. This is the one that's got the digital display. You can adjust the PSI on it. USB-C charging. And you can replace that rubber gasket in there. And when I originally purchased this was originally my thought process on doing an electric pump was commuting in the morning to work, and I didn't want to deal with doing flats with pump in bad weather. So I purchased this, use it for some commuting. I transitioned this over to bike packing and to gravel riding, and I think that's where this really shines. And I know electric pump and it's e-waste and all that, it's not for everybody, I totally get that, but there is a place, everything's a tool, bicycle's a tool. There's thousands of different manufacturers making pumps, different types of pumps. So to me, it's another tool in the tool shed, right? Is how we would say. And this one, like I said, really shines when you're going from dirt to asphalt or asphalt back to dirt, and you have to lower that tire pressure. And in the past, I would use a gauge and I use a frame pump, and I would do adjustments. And the benefit for this is you can lower your tire pressure, ride the dirt, come back into asphalt, reset, just do a quick set on this and get your tire pressure back up and you're on your way instead of trying to mess with pump. And it's, like I said, it's a preference for everybody. There is some pros and cons of this. One of the cons is sometimes I've had this button right here. It's where you turn it on and off. Sometimes in the bag, this has gone off. I think the buttons, you can see they're barely sticking out, but the LED screen is starting to get a little scratched. So far, I have not remembered not to charge it, and that's been okay, but all my bikes run a dyno hub with signed beacon too, so it's not charging or forgetting charging shouldn't be an issue. But I also use this sometimes to top up the bicycle tires in the morning at the house before I head off. So instead of using a frame pump, I've started using this a little bit more. It is extremely loud, so it'll wake anybody up in the house. But overall, this has been a pretty good investment, I'd say. It is expensive. It's not for everybody. I think that I would call this 1.0. If I was going to do a second version, I would want something that's more like in the style of a frame pump, so you could actually bolt it to the frame, just like standard stuff. And right now, you either have to use a frame bag, throw it in your pocket, throw it in the front bag, so it's not quite there. And the other thing I'd like them to do, if I was going to do anything, is I'd go to, I'm not a big fan of Bluetooth, but this is one where Bluetooth would probably make sense. Make it Bluetooth to an app to your phone, and you could preset the tire pressure, so you could either do an adjustment on the fly with your phone, or you could preset it before you leave. So you're saying, hey, I want this set at 75, or set this at 85 or 55. Through that app, and it's preset, ready to go. You take it out with you and you just pump it up and it shuts off automatically, and that way you don't have to take another tire gauge and do all that stuff. So yeah, maybe do an update on a Bluetooth app and change the design, because right now I know it's just they're all made in the same factories pretty much, it seems, the same style. So make it look like a frame pump so you can actually, strap it to the frame correctly. Your other option, I would think, if you're going to think outside the box on this, is to make it into a water bottle, maybe make a modular water bottle, so maybe the bottom or the middle is actually this in a round circle into a pump, and you could put your tools and some gels and all that stuff and just make it all one thing into a water bottle. That would be another option. But so far, yeah, this has been amazing for the application. It's not for everybody. I still use a frame pump, believe it or not. I still like a frame pump. I'm that old, and I still think frame pumps are probably the way to go. If you just had to have one pump, I'd say a frame pump, if you can get it on your bike. These smaller pumps, they've been around, but I've gone through so many of them. And when you're tired and out there doing stuff, frame pump's the way to go. This has definitely helped, and I think we're getting there. But I think a lot of it has to do with how, application. And for me, running, asphalt to gravel to dirt back to asphalt, this has been a huge saver. I think if you're going to commute in the morning and you're worried about getting flat tires, this is another way to go. If it's raining and something, you don't want to pull out a pump. This will work. Downfall is, I believe it's not waterproof, and they give you like a little bag to put it in. Comes with some instructions and a couple of extra little parts, of course. Most of the stuff just gets tossed. So yeah, so far I'd say You know, it is expensive. I think that's one of the downfalls for this. It's not for everybody, of course. And how I've been moving this around is I'm just using a drink cozy. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I just slide that in. And instead of using that bag, I've been using a cozy just to help from the vibration. And this has kind of helped with it not going off in the bag. When I used this bag, something would touch it and touch the buttons and it would turn on. So far, I've had pretty good luck with this. And it just helps so nothing else rattles. But anyways, hope that helps anybody. And if you want like all specs and stuff, I'm sure somebody else has got a video, but that's just, you know, my experience using this so far, real basic for what I'm using it for.